I've been waiting to say it, but I think that was one of those where Tommy Moody was watching us from above and helped kind of nudge that ball out of the ballpark. That's as good a win as we've had this year, obviously. Sometimes you have to come up here after a loss and say, man, that's just baseball. Tonight we won a game, and it's hard to figure out how we did it other than sometimes that's just baseball, and the kids just didn't give up. 5 runs in the last 2 innings after really struggling for the first 8. Just really proud of that group. I told them they deserved that win because of how they've handled a lot of things. So real happy for that group, and we got to build on it. Welcome back.
Yeah, appreciate it. Mark, so many times it's been, one swing away. You've been one swing away, and of course you got a lot of games to go. It's hard to justify, but do you feel like that could be that one swing, that this really starts turning things around and you guys really finish strong?
Well, you hope so. But again, momentum is the next day's starting pitcher. That was said a long time ago by some very smart baseball people. But what it means is today is we beat a team today that was 15-3 in the league when we were down by, 3 runs in the 9th inning. I mean, that's something that our guys will be able to draw on for the rest of the year. Whether it creates momentum, we'll see. But they showed a lot of heart tonight. They did. You can't question the heart of that team. They just kept playing, and I'm so happy for Blake for having such a great night. Roman, I thought, was really good again. Ty was really good again. So those guys, as our Friday night starters, is basically what they are. 8 innings, 3 earned runs against the 4th-ranked team in the country. Real happy with them.
Mark, in the 9th, pinch hitting, for Brewer and Ellis, was that kind of just an immediate decision you knew you were going to do coming into the inning? And then how good does it feel to see Reeves and Casas both hit the homers and see your move pay off?
Well, look, it's all about them getting an opportunity and taking advantage of it. Those guys, obviously Gavin has had some good moments and some not so good moments this year. Tonight was a great moment, and you'll like to see it because he works hard. He works really hard. All these guys work really hard. It just felt like the right move at the right time. We were running out of outs, and so we had what we thought were probably better chances to extend the game with those hitters coming in, and we gave them an opportunity. And after that, as a coach, that's all you can do. You provide the opportunity, and then you hope they make the most of it. And tonight, those guys clearly made the most of it.
It might get lost in the shuffle, but Talmadge made a pretty big play there on defense in the 10th. How comfortable were you with him at shortstop? And I guess what'd you see on that play?
Yeah, well, we worked on that stuff all week. With Tippett being out, sometimes necessity is the mother of invention, is what they say. And we had to kind of invent a new infield because of that. And sometimes you get led somewhere that maybe is a good place to be. And that was a big play. Gavin is more than capable of playing third. Lee Croy loves when we put him over at shortstop. I thought Petrie did a nice job at first base tonight. So, again, we've said it for a while now. We're not afraid to experiment. We're not afraid to try something that might push us a little bit forward. So, who knows? Maybe that's something too.
What kind of sense did you get amongst the players in the dugout after you tied the score at 4 apiece, and then did it change at all after you gave up the run in the top of the 10th?
I mean, it's probably pretty normal to feel a little deflated at that point, especially with the leadoff walk that led to it. But look, I didn't sense any give up. This is just not a group that's going to give up. How you handle that disappointment of giving up the 3 spot in the 9th, scoring 3, and then giving up 1 more in the 10th, like how you handle that disappointment gives you a chance to come back. And we handled it in a way that we didn't pack the tents in. We guys came in and said, well, let's just do it again. Let's have another good inning. And they did it. For 8 innings, we couldn't do it. And somehow for the 9th and the 10th innings against really good bullpen guys from Kentucky, somehow it happened. It's baseball. You hate when we say that's baseball after a loss, but after a win, sometimes you say that's baseball.
What were your thoughts in the 10th inning when that ball went off Jackson's bat? Because it was questionable, I think, off the bat, but then it just kept carrying and carrying.
Yeah, again, I think Tommy helped blow that ball out of the ballpark tonight. I can't think of another logical explanation other than that. Off the bat, I thought it was going to push the left fielder back a little bit. I certainly did not think it was going to end up as a home run. The ball hasn't been carrying at night here this year, hardly at all. But tonight late, it certainly carried for us.
Coach, Ty Good gave you 5 good innings with 7 strikeouts and a walk, and for a while there he looked pretty unhittable. I mean, what was kind of the process of kind of deciding how long to keep him in and ride the wave that he had? Because he gave you a lot of good innings.
Yeah, he did. He gave us 5 innings. We look at Roman and him almost as I mentioned earlier, as our Friday night starters. Because Roman's going to give you between 2 and 4 innings, and Ty's going to come in and see how far he can go. And 80 pitches, at 80 pitches, you could tell he was running out of gas. And I looked at Matt, and he had dominated for a long time, but Matt just looked at me and said he's out of gas, and so had to go to the next guy. But he was great tonight.
I was about to say, following up on that, Mark. I think he'd gone 5.2 was his previous longest, the 6. Any thought after that leadoff walk to go ahead and hop him out of there? Yeah, some of the toughest decisions you have as a manager or a head coach is when to get a guy out, because Ty is as good a competitor as we have, and so he walks a guy, and you're thinking, okay, I have 2 avenues to go here. He's either out of gas, let's get the next guy in, or he's been dominating and he deserves the right to stay in there and see if he's got any more left in the tank. We opted to see if he had any more left in the tank because we respect what a competitor he is. But once that second guy got on, it just felt like, okay, it's time.
Hummel, I think, had given up 2 earned runs in about 20 innings coming into this, and then you got the 3 off of him in the ninth. What was?
Don't ask for an explanation, John. That's baseball is tonight's explanation. I don't have an explanation. It's crazy. It's a crazy game.
Were they good pitches that your guys hit, or was he missing? I guess I'm asking for an explanation.
From our vantage point in the dugout, we can't see in and out. You can see height, but until I go back and look at the video and see really where those pitches were, it's hard for me to say they were bad pitches, they were good pitches. Sometimes a good pitch turns into a homer. Sometimes a bad pitch turns into an out. I'd have to go back to the video because from the dugout, it's not a great angle to really evaluate how good a pitch was.
Mark, in sports, we talk about meeting the moment, and your players were able to do that, especially in the bottom of the ninth. What about them allows them to meet the moment in that kind of environment, in that kind of stage?
That doesn't happen because you gave a pep talk today. That happens because it's just you try to have a consistent program where the guys support each other from day one, and they create that environment, and you create that environment in the locker room and in the building. Those comebacks are not created with a pep talk in the ninth inning. They're built because you try to maintain a level of consistency and an environment where guys will keep fighting until that last out. I know we have that. And it showed up tonight.
You talked about Jackson a little bit, but he's been out of the lineup for a couple of weeks, had a couple, pinch hit plate appearances last weekend. Did you see this coming from him? Did you have a sense maybe this week that he was kind of close to breaking out?
He'd been swinging it better lately. There's no question about it. He had the big pinch hit last week against Arkansas on a Friday night. He appears to really like Friday nights. Friday Night Lights, he's a former football player in Texas, so maybe that has something to do with it. But obviously, when the guys play like that, they get more run. That's the thing. We keep trying to figure out who we're going to be the best 9 guys. And guy has a great game, then kind of like this. So we're just continuing to try to search for the guys that will give us the most good at bats. So when we look up and we have 36 at bats, we want to try to get as many of those being quality at bats as possible. And we just have to keep experimenting.
Yeah, when you said you were experimenting with the lineup, you said it wasn't going to be 100% yet until you felt like fully confident in it. When you're making the lineup today, what was kind of like the decision there? Like obviously good at bats, like contact. What's kind of the approach for you there?
Yeah, well, today's was where we were going to play our most speedy and athletic players and see if that would help us. We've looked it up, and when we score 6 runs, we're now 10-3, and so 6 runs for us is the target. And we hadn't been doing it, waiting for the home run. And so ironically, on a day where we played all our speed and athletic guys, seeing if we could get to 6 runs that way, it wasn't until late in the game where we hit homers to get to that 6-run mark. So we're just going to keep looking and searching until it all comes together, and hopefully it will at the right time.